Recording is on.
Welcome to DXgov governance discussion for Wednesday, October 6, 1500 UTC. Congrats to the Red Sox for the win over the Yankees last night. Starting first with the proposal roundup. Mainnet coming in hot this week with a bunch of proposals going on here. I'm actually going to share my screen to the DX vote to go over these. Yeah, so a couple different ones. The first one we talked about last week is the contributor stipend and funds. So this is for contributors to be able to claim expenses from the trips to Lisbon. I think this was put forth by Melanie, and this is I think slated to pass in the next day or two. So for those traveling to Lisbon, can reference this proposal and request up to those amounts in their next contributor proposal. And then there is a DXgov Treasury Diversification number 26, ETH to stables. So there were a bunch done last week, and I think this is another one in this. I think this is going to RAI and USDC. And I think there might be a couple. I'm not sure actually how many more of this, but yeah, that is set to pass in 4 days. And then there is governance gas refund number 6. So this is actually a funding proposal that sends ETH to a smart contract where DXgov governance participants can claim refunds or reimbursement for gas costs over the last quarter. So you can see how much each of the actions there are reimbursed at certain amounts. Fun fact, in this quarter, Dave was the #1 ETH burner this week, just edging me out for the amount of ETH burn. I think he gets a 1.4 ETH refund for all of the gas costs he's incurred over the last quarter. But that's 5 days there, and there's steps for how to do it. I believe in this post here for anyone to claim the funds for mainnet gas costs.
Does it make sense that Dave, as the winner of that, should pay the most in non-refundable gas too?
If you're asking how much I'm probably going to spend a year on gas costs, or Dave will probably spend it on gas costs that is not refunded, it's probably like $5,000 to $6,000.
Yeah, or more. Does that make sense?
Long term, I think it's clearly not. I think this is kind of like it's executing because the people that are doing it are like, so governance is part of their job scope. But I think this is like, how do we incentivize these actions more? Because even like just getting that completely free is probably not enough to actually have active participants. But anyway, a conversation.
Yeah, a thought on that too is I think when we came up with those percentages, ETH was a lot smaller value. So I think the important thing is that the voters are paying some amount of money to prevent like spamming, but it maybe doesn't have to be 10% if ETH is so high that it's like amounting to hundreds of dollars. And I don't know, maybe it's those percentages could be tweaked.
We could put it up to 95 or something like that.
Yeah.
As long as Dave is paying it.
Well, and it's a pretty big like time cost of money, I guess, when you think about it. Like, even though you do get reimbursed, like you have to wait like a couple months maybe to do that. So that is also like a disincentive.
We can also do them monthly, the governance refunds, right? It's not really an issue. It's some more gas costs involved in the deploying the contract and then getting the proposal, but it's also an option to do them more frequently. But in the long term, I think they won't be needed anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other big discussion we should start having, and I think I was just thinking about this as Augusto was talking about, is what about Arbitrum? Because there, I think, gas costs are going to be real and significant, but not a whole lot. But I think we should probably be reimbursing that. Plus, I know there's already been a lot of costs that have been incurred by the rep whales in terms of that have been submitting the proposals. And so I think we probably need to come up with something on that too.
Yeah, we can do that easily. It's the same Same
Yeah.
code will work. Just need to put the Arbitrum
Yeah.
API in.
And Dave, you mentioned there's some new refund system coming, because I had shared a tool that other DAOs are using for like automatic easy refunds that just like show the transaction, and then like you can just claim your money back. And you said there's some systems coming that we won't need to do that.
Yeah, I'll pass the mic to Augusto.
Yeah, the DXgov voting machine. It already got the both refunds integrated. In fact, we can use it right now on Arbitrum. We need to configure it, but what we need to do is to set the maximum gas that we are going to be using as refund, the maximum gas price, and the gas limit. And that is what you're going to be getting. If the gas prices get too high, and if you pay more than that, more than the gas price that we are refunding, you are going to be paying that from your own pocket. But if not, they are going to be like, I don't know, like 99% refundable. Like you are not going to be spending lots of money.
That's a cool feature.
Yeah,
That's a great feature. And you have to set that gas limit though. So like if gas is high, are people just not going to do governance, or will you get refunded on top of that?
Yeah, the idea is not to let it be attacked. Maybe later we can do some gas refunds if we want to, but if you let the voter set the gas price that they are going to be using for the refund, that can be attacked, because I can say, okay, I'm going to vote with, I don't know, this amount of gas, and this is the gas price, and I'm going to receive, I don't know, like half an ether over my gas expenses and be able to turn out the DAO. That is not going to happen, because we are going to set a lower maximum gas price that it takes the gas price of the block or the gas price that you are setting as a voter.
One negative about this is that if ETH is really high and you have to pass something, you actually have to pay it up yourself and you won't get refunded.
Or maybe we do get a refund, but this is going to be like way more automated.
Cool. Well, I think I'm definitely looking forward to that, and that's why Arbitrum I think is a place to build that in, because we have some cost on that now.
How much does Arbitrum gas price move around?
Also,
I think
sorry, just want to make clear that this is a DXgov voting machine feature. So when we start using the DXgov voting machine with the wallet schemes in XDAI and in mainnet, we are going to be able to use this feature as well.
Cool. Yeah, Sky, I don't know if there's like what people think about thoughts on Arbitrum transactions, but it seems to be like simple transfers are like $2 to $8 or something like that. But I don't know if it's been that consistent, because it depends on like how much usage of the network.
But is that the gas price going between like 1.5 and like 5.5 or something like that? It moves around a little bit, but I've never seen it really outside of that range.
Yeah.
I think
Not
for
sure.
executing a contract, it costs about $25 to $40. And you're the last person to vote, and then it executes, I think.
I guess the question is, what happens when Arbitrum has as much demand as mainnet? Is gas price 400?
It actually goes down because, and this, I'm not exactly sure how this works, but like because the cost is entering transactions on mainnet, submitting transactions on mainnet, but the like cost to Arbitrum users is spread across the number of Arbitrum users. So that cost on Ethereum mainnet will like stay the same, but to each user on Arbitrum 1, it would go down because it's spread over more users, more transactions paid.
So this is sort of in my head, not verified with looking how it works, but I think there's like essentially two components. There's still a fee market on Arbitrum, and therefore like, demand on Arbitrum will move the price of gas on Arbitrum. But like what Chris was just saying is like the other component is paying your way to L1, and that is shared by everybody. So like, yeah, that can actually, the cost of that could actually go down when the bandwidth is like maxed out, basically. As an aside, I was kind of hit me that, you know, if there were to be an Arbitrum token, it would make sense to use that for the fee market on Arbitrum and still pay the L1 costs in ETH, so that you're essentially using both. I don't know how that would
That would be
impact
so shit.
user experience. But it was just a thought I had. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fishing for airdrops or something, but it's interesting to think about.
Makes sense for them,
Yeah, for business.
not for us. That would be shit.
Okay, just moving along here, there are two different proposals to send 518,000 swapper from the DXDAO mainnet treasury. So the first one you can see here is being sent to the swapper staking rewards relayer. So this is a relayer contract that will be used to launch the swapper farming campaigns on mainnet. And then the second proposal is a proposal to send 518,000 to the dev multisig to be transferred over to XDAI base and then to be used there to launch swapper farms there. So these will hopefully pass in 6 days there. So we'll be able to get started with the XDAI ones there. There are 3 corresponding swapper farming campaigns for the multi-call proposal. So you can see here on mainnet, we went with the 4, combining 4 epochs to save gas cost. Just to mention a separate gas cost, it was yesterday was quite the day to need to create a pair on swapper mainnet. I think it was at one point I was like quoted like $3,000 to do it, but I think I got it for just under $1,000 there. But yeah, there's 3 different campaigns here. It's actually a little bit easier to see these on Alchemy in terms of what they're doing here. But yeah, so hopefully these will go through. Just one note on these, because we need it, the time is sensitive because these need to go through and be executed before next Thursday, 1500 UTC, because that's when the actual timestamp is. They will need to make sure and get boosted tonight or move to the boosted phase tonight. Yeah, and then I think that was it for mainnet. I don't know if anyone had any questions about the swapper farming campaign proposals. We are still waiting on the XDAI ones. I think the hold up on doing those and getting started on those is we actually don't have the swapper token address on XDAI, but I think we might be able to get that. And then once that's set, we can start on the XDAI proposals there. Cool. And then just switching to XDAI. Cool. So you can see at the top here, there's a couple of those different buyback orders that are actually still pending execution. So mostly just waiting for trying to get the solvers up and running for XDAI to see if we can execute them. So just to give everyone kind of an update on this, we've been trying to to deploy a new solver to run the which is needed to run Gnosis protocol on XDAI. So we've been trying to do that last week, and in order to get that up so that these buyback orders can actually be executed. Maybe Geronimo or someone,
Yes.
Dave could maybe give like the latest of what we're hearing on the solvers right now.
Yeah, so we're still running into the issue of the solve of the like one hop on DXT Weft trade, but we're currently talking with Felix from CalSwap Gnosis, and we might be able to manually match the orders ourselves. So we just have to pull like our order and the best sell order of DXT, and we can potentially match these together. So Jero is actually speaking with Felix right now and trying to solve this, but at least as a temporary solution, we could just manually scan the orders and then instead of having a full solver run, just manually execute them ourselves through the batch exchange smart contract. But I don't know, Jero, if you have anything to add or.
No, that's mainly it. I really hope we will actually get it done with like the manual matching, because then we actually can like finish the buyback which was approved, and then we should actually look for like a better solution longer term. But that's it, man.
Sorry, did you say you could like manually execute the trades without
Yeah.
the solver?
Yeah, the solver itself keeps track of the whole state of the protocol, and we just like look into the data, see the orders, and then just like construct a solution
Manually. Yeah.
Right, because there's not like the only thing happening on the protocol is like these orders. So like, yeah.
Yeah, there's no other solver running, so like we're basically
But
Theoretically, we could do it on mainnet as well, and we would only pay DXD where like our specific orders
right.
gas costs, because we would be only submitting manually.
Right. If we know exactly how to construct those submissions, we could also do like those buybacks on mainnet, but yeah,
Not
in my
ideal.
view- in my view, we should just like finish the approve process, and then we should like find a better solution, which means probably Aqua and
Yeah. And so, but that just for like timing on that, you think we can maybe execute on the manual, at least the manual component of that within like the short term, like the next couple days, and then
yeah, I'm actually like in contact with Felix right now, and we're trying to like the solution right now.
cool. And then so just to like,
yeah, hopefully we will get like we will get those orders matched today.
sweet. So I think that kind of changes or maybe sets the frame how we should be framing the other conversation, which is like kind of expanded DXD buyback purchase options. Because I think, regardless of whether it happens, whether we're like, hand cranking Gnosis protocol V1 ourselves for a week or 2 weeks, like we need a new solution to execute the buyback. The buyback program signal proposal clearly laid out the use of the GP relayer and the Gnosis protocol V1 to execute the buyback. So we will need some other way to some other authorization to execute the buyback. So just started a post last night on this. I think in light of what Geronimo said, I think that this is more about like enabling that medium term execution of the buyback. So maybe not something that we need to push through so quickly. But like it's something we need to do because we need like a new way of executing it. So this would be like 3 different ways, and this is just like to start the conversation yet. This is needing a lot more detail and kind of comments from other people. But there would be like 3 different ways that this could potentially authorize. One is through a new generic relayer that is hooked into Aqua. And so there's some kind of questions about this because this is stuff that we're still testing and not fully deployed. So it would be a little risky to do it without it being fully audited. But this would be the first option. And then the second one would be CowSwap integration. And so CowSwap maybe is possible to use with a DAO and not need to just rely on something that an address that can sign signatures. And then the third one is like the member balancer purchases, which is basically to enable the buyback to be done through the member balancer format and kind of lays out maybe some possibilities for how that would do there. So open up for questions or comments or this in general, but like I think in light of what Geronimo was saying, I think that this is something we need to think about and maybe put further thought into something, but not something we need to probably execute on in like the next 2 to 3 days, as long as we can manually execute the trades. Some interesting wise words from Sky in the chat, but cool. Well, I guess if there are no thoughts on this, we'll be following along and kind of executing on this. I think in general, one of the things I do think we're hoping to accomplish in Lisbon is thinking a little bit more about like the long-term buyback method, not just like kind of the technical component, but like how do we have like a system that is a bit more automated about how like DXD is repurchased, and maybe it even gets into like revenue and how that does. But thinking maybe something we can start the conversation more on Lisbon on too. Cool. And then, yeah, next item is Lisbon call schedule. This was just wanted to kind of confirm this because I know that we had like the schedule was put out. I saw with Melanie and then Dave that they put the booklet together, and there's kind of some things in there. But I know that we also will be some people that will be not attending Lisbon, and so we want to be able to like try to maintain and keep some things ongoing. So I guess for like each of the calls, it might be interesting to see what we're planning to do, at least for the Wednesday governance discussion. I think this will be the same time, actually, 1500 UTC, and we'll probably do a little, maybe like a version of the weekly one. But then I also think it's going to be an opportunity more for like a larger discussion about like Gov 2.0 and some of the other things that we're thinking. So that will be at 1500 UTC. But I wasn't sure about like the Monday biz dev call. Is that still happening at 1500 UTC? And then I think maybe the Friday one might be difficult to do because people will be there, but wanted to just make it clear for everyone.
The Monday call, I think, should still be possible. Well, that's the day everyone's just gathering, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so like we're keeping like all the calls again at the same time?
Yeah.
Well, that's the question, right? So just making sure that I guess there is Tuesday seems like a beach day, so it might be hard to do some of them, but yeah. So Monday, Wednesday, everything the same. The community call, I guess, will be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a busy week.
Yeah, maybe something to also discuss is our call schedule in general too. We work on that, but another thing.
Developer call is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Physically happening.
I think we never miss a developer call.
Rain, shine,
Yeah.
hell or high water.
Power outage.
Everywhere.
Okay. Cool. Any other, like, just while we're on it, like logistical things? I don't know if the Lisbon boys like have special perspective on the other side, but any other like kind of questions or people or comments are thinking about with Lisbon stuff to coordinate? Cool. Okay. And then, yeah, I wasn't sure, just only other thing really in discussion was if there was a DXgov dev check-in. Sometimes we give them opportunity to do anything on the call here. I think we just had a good discussion about some of the priorities for DXvote over the coming week or two. And yeah, I don't know if Ross or Augusto wanted to give an update on the Gov dev efforts.
Yeah, just wanted to say that a lot of things are going to be happening this week here regarding DXvote structure and organization. Not a structure, but how are we going to organize ourselves? Lots of planning. A lot of people here have ideas on how DXvote should work and what features should we have. And since we are being DXvote for ourselves and mainly for the people who is going to be attending this one, it's going to be great for Ross and me, I guess, to hear them in person. What do they think and what do they want to add? Oh my God.
You're looking great. Oh. Yeah, and it's interesting, actually just tying this back into the conversation we were having before the call or at the beginning about Prime DAO and how they're kind of launching almost like a new governance system. And Sky was talking about how they're basically like plugging in or taking all of these existing pieces, like boardroom snapshot, and like combining them into something. They're also adding some of their own things. Like they have like a reputation contract that controls a multi-sig, for instance. But thinking how that differs from what DXDAO and DXVote is doing, which is like building for like what we're doing, like building for ourselves and like all new infrastructure and tools. And the key like benefit, I think, for DXDAO is like we actually know, we have a good idea of what we need because we've been governing ourselves for 2 years, right? And like that means like sort of talking about that priorities. Well, it's like, what's the thing people use like DXDAO the most for? It's like contributor proposals, right? Like that's what everyone here, uses on a probably the most consistent basis. So like we need to make that flow like really smooth. What's another thing is like, well, we're also doing all these swapper farms right now. Like we have tons of proposals that need to be kind of submitted, boosted, voted on every chain. And so like, how can we make a flow like for that? So I think it's a real advantage of DXVote as like a product, because like that like feedback loop of like building, I think will be really strong, because we do that. We live, breathe, and this stuff every day.
So what we are building is very different to what we were using at first from Alchemy, where they had these plugins, right? Where you were just adding stuff on top of your governance. And DXvote, the way it was designed is to be super flexible, so we can add more stuff, like, how can I say, on chain, right? We don't need to do any change in the UI to support any plugin or any new integration. We can just interact with it on the chain, on the blockchain level. So that's the way how it was designed. I don't know if Diamond DAO is taking the approach of the plugins like DAOstack did, which is not bad, but it wasn't flexible enough for us, right? This is what we are there. This is the approach that we took on DXvote, making something flexible and secure, adding also this permission layer that I think is not mentioned a lot, but it is very secure. If you go to the permissions view, you can see everything that we can execute, the tokens that each skin can transfer, the contracts that they can call. This is very important and it's super powerful.
Yeah, sweet. Very super excited. Awesome. And then just like a couple other things to highlight, maybe myself from the forum. There is a post from Tammy, good post on a proposed legal budget for Q4. This is like a lot of the questions and problems that people have been having about like registering and getting paid and all the tax stuff. So hopefully that will be a way of solving that. And then there is a post by Keenan for Discord rep boost for Q3. I don't think this is yet a signal proposal, but something to be on the lookout for. I think we should also be getting rewards for Discord use in general, even for contributors. Make that like a quarterly competition. But
just a quick comment. I did submit it as a signal proposal this morning. Was having some issues finding it in the UI again. I think maybe because I was using the Netlify, not DXvote.eth. Maybe could be related, but it is up as a signal proposal now.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. Man, did you post? Hopefully this was like I must have been after I hopefully looked through it.
Yeah, it was about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's so yeah, that's a sweet thing. And then the only other and then the two other things to highlight were the DXDAO grant proposal, Diamond DAO Chainverse. There's a discussion going on there. I think that's kind of interesting. And then the governance multi-funds refunds round number 5 were submitted there. Just another kind of housekeeping thing for gas refunds, separate from the governance gas refunds. Cool. And I think that was it. We could maybe end a little early unless there were other questions. I think we just established that there will be a Monday call. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday call. Yeah, I think spicy soup. I mean, I think that we would need a proposal to authorize DXgov to like interact with CalSwap, because I think like the original program signal proposal was very explicit on like outlining the steps for the GP relayer, which I think is like important for explaining what's actually kind of happening under the hood. But that's really exciting that we could use CalSwap too, and I think we should be continuing to explore that option. We could even theoretically submit the proposal while we're waiting for the signal proposal to pass. Just when you say manually match, I'm just like literally like imagine you guys like going around and like finding these orders and just like.
So just to clarify, the manual matching is on GPV1, which is not what CalSwap is. The manual matching would be like instead of a solver, like literally someone manually puts in a solve solution into GPV1 and it matches the buy and sell that are like existing. So I think that I mean, there's nothing that says like anyone in the world can't run a solver. So that might already be approved, right?
Yeah, no, that one I think is, yeah, because that's through GP relayer. I think the key thing is like you're sending funds to this relayer contract.
Yeah. So theoretically, to Spicy Soup's question, if he mistakenly wrote CalSwap, but if we could continue the buyback through manual solver submission using GPV1, like today, if we knew how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and those orders would get cleared today. There's even like an order still on there for like 0.18 ETH DXD.
And because these are like one off or a small set of buys, and then sellers can come in and leave limit orders. As long as these are limit orders, like the manual solver submission is not necessarily attackable by anyone in the world, right? Because the only thing that you can do is fill people within their limits. So you could give more benefit to one side than the other side, but you can't make someone's price worse than their limit order. So is that correct, that it can't be attacked by anyone else that like messes around?
Yeah, that should be correct. We can just match up orders. That's all we can really do.
But if they're at the same exact price, you match them easily. If there's this like premium, like you could give the premium to one side or the other, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and just to be clear for Spicy Soup, yeah, the manual orders could hopefully could start as soon as we figure this out. It should be today. And it could use the existing proposals that have been submitted over the last couple of days. Again, now I'm thinking about like needing like, it's like pen and paper to like find the solution.
Well, you need to
be in a closet, like work really hard.
It's almost member balancer, but like with a clearing mechanism so that it happens instantly rather than like trust DXgov to send you WETH like a week later. Like that's effectively what it is, except it's basically a clearing mechanism, which is comes from traditional finance.
To take it full
clearing mechanism.
Yeah.
You just fax the orders to Vitalik and then he puts them in.
Fax it to the central node office. To bring it full circle, it's kind of like the member balancer idea too. Using like going back to like safe snap. It's like when you put bounds between what could be executed, and then like rely on someone to execute it within that bounds. That's like part of the way of transferring risks or like getting execution off chain. We need a new updated UI for Mesa. So there is an IPFS. There's already one on IPFS, but I think the pricing API. Yeah. Do we have old Mesa.eth? That would be great.
Not sure if I was clear, but I am on that IPFS. I'm not seeing the order book.
Okay, I'm not sure about that, but we can. Yeah, I don't know if there's a new pricing API or something. Thank you, Nathan. Okay. Well, I think that's it. So yeah, thanks everyone for hopping on, and yeah, see you guys next week.
Obrigado.
What's up?
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Adios.
I think I can guess what that means. I think obrigado. Okay.